Well, let me bring in the panel right now. Republican strategist Sarah Flores, the newly minted associate publisher of Crane's Detroit Business, a longtime D.C. scribe, now will be correspondent in the Heartland, Ron Fournier, and Democratic strategist Chris Kofinis. Welcome all. All right. Is this as bad of a day as for Trump as we painted there at the top? You have another high-profile defection. By the way, there were 50 administration officials said no, never Trump yesterday. Right. We have these polls that show in his best states he's seeing a lead slip away. How bad is it?
Horrible. He's bleeding. If you and I have talked about this, I think barring an extreme and unexpected event, this race is over. He can't recover from this unless something really big and unforeseen happens. And look what happened today. I mean, the remarks on the gun issue, I can now, listening to Senator Collins, I can understand why somebody might stop and think, okay, maybe he's talking about a political motivation. But my first hearing of it,
you heard, your eyes went up. What did you hear,
and if I hear it that way, other people hear it that way. Words matter when you're president. Yeah. You don't talk about Russia hacking our U.S. secrets. Right. You don't talk about beating up protesters in your audience. Words matter if you want to be president of the United States.
And Sarah, that's the thing. Some people are going to hear certain things, and even Senator Collins seemed to say, hey, this is the problem. He's too loose.
Well, Donald Trump has actually enjoyed the ambiguity in his phrases in the past because he gets the press all talking about it, and then he gets to go out and say what he really meant, and it all dies down. So in a sense, this just helps his plan, whether you agree with that plan or not. That being said, it's August. How many people are paying attention? To borrow an Olympic metaphor, we're still in prelims right now. The finals don't really happen until after Labor Day.
Chris.
Well, I think this race has blown every conventional stereotype that we had of politics, and that's a fair statement. That being said, there are certain rules that apply to politics no matter whether Trump is the nominee or not. Right. Time right now is his enemy. It is. Every day he wastes, every day that he's off message, every day that he's basically fighting the Republicans is a day he's not communicating to voters, trying to win them over. The pool of undecided voters in this election is small. It's probably, if you include soft leaners, about 15 to 20%, and that's probably extreme.
Well, what's amazing here is that I've noticed now, and everything post-convention is in. There's now no difference between the two ways and the four ways, maybe a point or two, in that, and there's very little undecided. The people that say neither, they basically split 2-1 Johnson over Stein.
Yeah, we could tell going into this convention this was going to be an unpopularity contest. Right. People are deciding not who they're going to vote for, but who they're going to vote against. And Donald Trump has made an extremely compelling argument as to why you should vote against him.
That being said, though, you dive into those numbers more, and what I think actually was the story out of these conventions was that Hillary's favorability numbers went up. His didn't change a lot.
Her trust numbers went up a little bit.
And her trust numbers went up, so in that sense, her convention worked, and his just didn't do much. So then these other scandals keep eroding at his numbers.
It did do something. It actually hurt him in key battlegrounds. I mean, the map is expanding for the Clinton campaign right now. I mean, whether Georgia and Arizona are really going to be battlegrounds come October.
But they're putting staff there.
But they're putting staff in there, and they're actually thinking about putting resources there, and they're pulling back from Virginia and Colorado. Where's the path for Trump? It's getting narrower and narrower, and it's 90 days out. The problem is he has no field team, so in close races, how do you win?
Let me put up another number, too. This is the TV ad spending number. And this is where, I know, Sarah, you just said, oh, it's August. You know what? The Kerry campaign said that in 2004 when the Swift Boat veterans. Look at these numbers now. I'm going to put them up. A campaign totals $91 million for Team Clinton to $8 million for Team Trump. By the way, the Trump campaign still hasn't done any of their own advertising. It's all super PACs, and I know Trump is Trump and all of those things. But again, you can lose a campaign badly in August.
This isn't going to be one on the air. That you're looking back at 2004 when John Kerry was still trying to define who he was. Mitt Romney was trying to define who he was, and the other side out-defined them first. That is not the problem in this race. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are defined brands. I'm surprised the Clinton campaign is spending so much on air. I think it's a mistake.
But it is interesting. There is one piece of the electorate that has moved, though, post-convention. College-educated whites. And Susan Collins, the administration officials, all of these defectors, seem to me that's who they're speaking to.
This is where I actually agree with you. I don't think it's advertising that's moving the needle. I think one thing Donald Trump is showing is a lie with TV advertising, it's consultants that get 10, 5, 3% of this cut. It doesn't move the numbers,
totally,
especially in this day and age.
Well,
what is moving the numbers?
I'm sorry. There's no creativity in television advertising right now, in political television.
Well,
there's great creativity at Geico.
Yeah.
Where the hell's the creativity?
Chris could give you a seminar.
I know. That drives me nuts. Right. Why can't any of these people come up with a gosh darn creative television?
What's changing things, though, is Donald Trump's behavior in the public, on social media, and at the convention. That's what's changing these numbers you're talking about.
I would say the quality of ads, both negative and positive, have been pretty limited, to say the least. The ads are not going to move this. What they do, where they're effective, is they reinforce certain stereotypes or certain perceptions of the candidates. That's where they're damaging for the Trump campaign. The bigger problem for Trump, as I see it, is as long as this Republican civil war continues, you're going to have a narrative of Republicans running away from him, you're going to hear a new category of voters, and I know Republicans are going to laugh at this idea of Clinton Republicans, just like you had Reagan Democrats.
But they're not real. They're not pro-Clinton.
But it doesn't matter. If they don't vote for him, they create the same dynamic.
And Sarah, that's the problem. Every morning, Jason Miller wakes up and has to put out a Republican fire and a Clinton fire.
Yeah, it's unique to this cycle. That being said, I think if the Democrats had nominated anyone else, you would see Democrat Republicans. I don't think you're seeing that this cycle for a reason. Hillary Clinton, every time she holds a press conference, and I am going to put that in quotes based on the last press conference.
Wait.
She still has not had.
She has not had a press conference.
That's correct.
In what feels like 6 months, I think.
Yeah, so
a year,
maybe a year, 8 months, and maybe back in January.
Every time she does something like that, Republicans are reminded, like, oh, nope, not her.
All right, I'm going to pause it there. You guys are sticking around. It's a very news-filled Tuesday. Let's get right to the lid. The panel is back. Sarah Flores, Ron Fournier, Chris Kofinis. All right.
On Hillary Clinton, you can have a lot of problems with her policies. You might not think that she's strong enough on the Second Amendment, but you cannot say, it is inaccurate to say that she is proposing to take away people's guns. That's wrong. That's a lie. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, and I tell you, this rhetoric is working, I think, with a lot of gun owners. It's firing them up, per se. The question is it decisive?
I mean, it's firing them up, but I think that's a commercial that basically, I think, to your point, I think you're right, it kind of speaks to an audience that already kind of decided how they're going to vote. Now, does it help maybe gin up his base? Yeah, maybe to some extent. The biggest problem for Trump right now at this point in the race is he's got to figure out how to talk to those college-educated whites, right? Those moderate, independent swing voters. Those suburban moms.
Right.
And right now, there is no message coming out of his mouth that would appeal to those critical voting blocks. Right. Until he does that, the dynamics of the race don't change.
And that ad doesn't affect.
Look, there's two things that I think a lot of people want to know, right? Number one is that you talked about the college-educated whites. Let me throw some breakdowns from our 3 new polls, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Iowa, that show you the difference pre-convention and post-convention with college-educated whites. Let's see. The first one we're putting up, I hope, is Ohio here, or Iowa. I assume it's on. Let's put it up here. As you can see, a modest switch there in Ohio, 39-34 before the convention, 45-37. But let me put up these Iowa numbers and these Pennsylvania numbers, because you saw more dramatic moves here among college-educated whites. In Iowa, from a 44-37 lead to Clinton to 56-25. Ouch.